Okay, so you hear me yap on about trading plans a lot, and you hear why I think it's so important that you need a trade plan that you can actually stick to every single time you take a trade. And the reason for that is not to just purely be sticking to your strategy from a strategy perspective, but the reason for that is also to be sticking to your plan from a mindset perspective as well. And the reason why I'm creating this video is because when I first started going to live trading, after I'd back tested, created a plan, I had the impression that all would be good and well, because obviously if I've back tested and I've got a system that works, surely when I go into the live market, it will also work and it will also be consistent and profitable straight away. But that's actually rarely the case, and it's mainly down to this issue that I'm going to speak to you about today. So let's get into it, and let me start off with a breakdown of my personal backstory when I first started to learn how to trade and how I ended up in the position that you might be in right now as a viewer, and how I got myself out of that position, which now means that I can help you guys get out of that position as well.
Funding meant for traders. Ment Funding.
Okay, so like I said, a bit of a backstory. I started off in trading back in 2018. I started off learning signals, or doing signals, I should say. Went into mentorships, tried to learn a bunch of different of them, tried to, for example, be profitable with loads of different types of strategies that all fell under the umbrella of these here, where I tried to learn different patterns, support and resistance levels, smart money concepts, and other retail systems to find profitability. I've used all sorts of different time frames, so higher, lower, multi-time frame systems, one time frame systems, all that type of stuff. None of that worked. I've used discretionary systems before. I've used mechanical systems before. I've used EAs. I've used bots. And I've gone through countless books thinking that I'd find profitability by reading books. And all in all, close to £20,000 spent on courses, mentorships, blown accounts, blown challenges, and more. So what I'm trying to say here is I've got a wealth of experience when it comes to failing in the industry that we're speaking about today, which is the trading industry. And under the trading industry umbrella falls your forex trading, your stocks trading, your crypto trading, your futures trading, all of that type of tradings, commodities trading, you name it, it's the same stuff basically. And when I joined MentFX, you might be thinking, right, well, you joined MentFX and you became profitable. It's actually far from that. So it was an extension of all of the mindset issues I was experiencing whilst this was going on into the new strategy, because you can go into any strategy that you want, but without the correct mindset and without being able to rewire your brain into thinking in the correct way, you're actually going to struggle to be profitable, even if that strategy is profitable in backtesting. So join MentorVex in 2020, try to rush the process, realize quickly that that doesn't work, which is fine. So I stopped rushing the process and I started following it. I took my time, took me around 12 to 18 months to see any profits. And to add to that, I'd already had profitable systems before this. I actually had profitable systems when I was in these days doing support resistance, smart money, patterns, all of that type of stuff in different mentorships. I'd have profitable systems in mechanical systems, discretionary systems. I'd had mechanically, sorry, I have had back tested profitable systems in all of these avenues, but when I joined MentFX, I still wasn't profitable straight away, is what I'm trying to say here. And the reason for that is I had a plan, but I was taking trades outside of it at first without realizing. But then the more and more I realized there was actually no apparent reason for that other than FOMO, wanting to be in a trade, thinking it looks good at the time. So, for example, we all know that you have a trade plan and you've seen the live markets that there is a trade setting up, and it meets like 80 or 95% of the criteria of your trade plan, but you still take it anyway. Even though it's not actually your trade plan, you still take it anyway. And that was one of the issues that I used to have as well. Seeing it work once or twice in previous backtesting sessions, or seeing it work the previous day, so you've just took it live the next day, that also falls under this umbrella of having a plan but taking trades outside of it. Forcing it to match my trade plan. So, like I said, even though it doesn't actually match my trade plan fully, I used to change parts of it to make myself believe that it matched my trade plan, etc., etc. There's loads more reasons. I could honestly go on for another 10, 20 minutes purely on those reasons alone. But the reason why I've pre-wrote all of this is actually so I can keep this bit brief, because I could talk for the whole of the trading industry when it comes to stuff like this, because I've experienced all sorts of psychological issues. And that all resulted in me taking trades that didn't even exist. They either weren't in line with my trade plan, or they didn't make any sense, all because of these issues outlined. So if that resonates with you, pause the video now, make a comment down below and let me know what part of that resonates with you, or did something else resonate with you that I've missed off there? Please do let me know, because I actually love to read through the comments and I love interacting with you guys and learning about your trading journeys. Bear in mind that you might be helping me with something that you've experienced that I've not yet experienced, okay? So feel free to drop a pause on this video, go down, leave a comment for me and let me know what you think up to now. So that's all good and well. You might be thinking, right, well, Dan, you know what? Yes, I might actually fall under those same umbrellas that you fell into, but what is this trick you're going on about? How did you fix that? And let's now go into, first of all, the realization that I had. So the realization I made just purely by going through my live trading results, because I documented them all. I documented how I was feeling at the time. I journaled everything. So once I realized that, once I actually went through my documented results, I realized that every single time I took a trade outside of my trade plan, 95% of the time it would fail, 5% of the time it would be a profitable trade. Okay, so immediately once I realized these statistics, and I guarantee if you go back through your trading results and you run the same test, you're going to realize that most of the time that you take a trade outside of your trade plan, it's going to be very, very similar results to this, where 95% of the time you take a trade outside of your trade plan, it fails, and 5% of the time it runs for profit. And if I was to reword that, what I'm trying to say is, if you had, for example, 100 trades that you took outside of your trade plan, 95 of them are losses. You're giving money away. You're more than welcome to send me your bank details, or actually let me send you my bank details and you can transfer me that money straight away. If you're going to lose the money to the broker, you might as well send it to me. I'll take it. I don't mind. But yeah, so 95% of the time, your trades you take outside your trade plan, they're going to lose. 5% of the time, they're going to win. So what the hell is the point of taking a trade outside of your trade plan? And you might be thinking, well, I didn't know that it wasn't in line with my trade plan at the time, or, oh, at the time I thought it was perfect. It looks like a good trade. Well, no, cut the crap. You knew you were taking a trade outside of your trade plan. And if you didn't know that, then I'm sorry to say you haven't done the back testing enough. You haven't actually created rules for yourself that are set exact rules on what you will trade and what you won't trade. I've done a video already as to how you can create a trade plan around that, or you haven't, in the nicest way possible, got your shit together yet. And maybe this video is going to help you get your shit together, because it's how I got my shit together. Okay. So every time I took a trade outside my trade plan, 95% of the time it lost. 5% of the time it was a profitable trade. So I knew that something needed to change, and I knew it needed to change fast. And the reason why it needed to change fast is because I knew if I kept on taking those trades outside of my trade plan, I am just going to be adding to the statistic of blowing more challenges and blowing more accounts and spending more money on courses and mentorships and just basically throwing away money for no reason. Whereas by telling you what I changed, this could fix a lot of things for you as well. So let's actually go into it. And before I go into that, I want to go through what exactly I mean. So this is my live trading results from, I think, roughly the 12th February until the current date, which is the 1st of June. So as you can see, it is a gradual push up. It's nothing extreme. It's nothing small. It's just a gradual move up. Okay. So there are clear sideways movements. There are clear break-even periods. There are clear losing periods, but at the same time, it's a gradual up move. And if I just screenshot this for a second, and let's bring this into this application. So when I was taking trades outside of my trade plan, I'm going to show you guys now what that actually looks like on my equity curve. So that looked a bit more like this, where at first I might be sticking to my plan and I might be taking the trades that are in line with my plan, but then I'd experience some losses like I did here. And then, that's it. And this next drawing is going to look extreme, but I promise you it's what happens. It then ended up starting to go down, maybe experience a couple of wins, like I said, because 5% of the time these trades you take outside of your trade plan end up being wins. And then maybe As you can see here, I took some trades that were actually profitable trades in line with my trade plan. So I end up sticking back to my trade plan again, seeing some decent profits, and then I lose a plot again. I see a bit of a sideways movement. I end up seeing a trade that looks good but not perfect. I take it anyway, end up taking a loss, a couple of wins, take some more losses, etc., etc. And it goes on and on and on. And what you'll realize is this cycle actually continues for a never-ending time. It's everlasting. This could easily continue going down, come back up, continue going down, and you're basically in a period of complete sidewaysness where you're sat there and you've got, an account that has been running for 3, 4, 5 months that is basically around the break-even mark, or is not in too much profit or not in too much loss. You're basically a break-even trader. And if you don't change something in your style of trading, or if you don't change what's going wrong, you're actually delusional, because repeating the same thing on repeat over and over and over, expecting a different outcome, is delusional. You cannot expect for your trading to suddenly, out of nowhere, increase and become something like this without changing the root psychological issue or the strategy issue that's going on. If it's a strategy issue that's going on, I'd recommend checking out how to create a trade plan, another video on this channel, or looking through the MentFX YouTube mentorship, which is a free public YouTube where you can find hundreds of hours of videos as to how you can start to become profitable as a trader. But that may all be good and well, but you won't actually see profits most of the time until you realize that you actually need to be sticking to your plan. And if you had the same issue as me, where you were taking trades and, for 95% of the time they were losing trades, this video is going to help, basically. So the solution that I ended up implementing into my trading that ended up seeing me turn my strategy from something like, well, into something like this, from something like I've just deleted, is that I realized one main thing, and it's actually flipping this exact quote on its head. So it's taking the realization that I had and it's basically flipping it on its head. Okay, so let me just copy and paste this. Let's move this over here and let's actually dig deep into this a bit more. So let me just move these drawings as well, because we don't exactly need them. And what I'm going to be doing here, just as I remove these drawings, actually, there's no point because you guys can read it anyway. But what I realized was that every time I took a trade outside of my plan, it's going to lose 95% of the time. So I reworded it, okay? And let me just add a title to say that's actually a really bad font. Let's make it a bit bigger. So reworded to this, whereby, and I want you to do the same, put your name. So whatever your name is, put that. Every time you break your trade plan, you will lose 95% of the time. Every time you break your trade plan, you will only win 5% of the time. So why on earth are you breaking your trade plan for a 5% success rate? If I came to you with a trading strategy that had a 5% win rate and a 95% loss rate, and let's just say, for argument's sake, it was a one-to-one system. So for, when you take a trade, you only take profit out of 1% and you lose 1%. Would you be in your right mind to accept that that is a trading system that you can take live based on the fact that it has a 5% success rate? Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is that you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't take a system that has a 5% success rate and 95% losing rate into your own personal trading account. You wouldn't do that. You'd be delusional again. So why would you take a psychological system or a mindset system that has a 5% win rate or has a 5% success rate? Why would you adopt a psychological approach that only works 5% of the time? You wouldn't do that, okay? You would not do that. So this video is actually as simple as me just saying this. Take the statistic that I know is fact because it happened to me, that every single time I took a trade outside my trade plan, 95% of the time that failed and 5% of the time that actually benefited me, and flip it on its head. Tell yourself every time you break your trade plan, it's going to flop 95% of the time. And every time you break your trade plan, you're going to win 5% of the time. So what on earth is the point of doing it in the first place? There isn't a point. And you might now be thinking, well, what about all the things you mentioned before about, how it's so tempting at the time? If you find it tempting to take a trade out of FOMO or take a trade just because it looks good in the moment, let me tell you, do you find it tempting to fail challenges? Do you find it tempting to blow half of your salary on, let me just go back here, blow half of your yearly salary at a time on courses, mentorships, blown challenges, blown accounts or more? Do you like giving money away? Like, if you actually like that, I'm sorry, but what is wrong with you? Why would you want to give money away? You're in trading to make money, make a better life for yourself, for your friends, for your family, for your extended family. You're in trading to build a better life for you. Why do you think that it's okay to be breaking those rules that you've put in place? That could be the only one thing that changes you from being a consistent, profitable, long-term trader versus a failing trader who will work a job for the rest of their lives. I'm not shitting on anyone's job, by the way. I'm just saying this for hypothetical sake, and who will never see an ounce of profit in the live markets. They may as well send their money to me. I will happily take your £500 you're going to spend on your next challenge, or I'll happily take your $2,000 you put into your next personal account that you're going to blow anyway. Okay? Or even one better, why don't you realize that every single time you take a trade outside of your trade plan, it will lose 95% of the time? Adopt that approach into your next trading session and into every single one of your future trading sessions, and tell me, come back in a few weeks' time and tell me, have you since took a trade outside of your trade plan? If that's a yes, your trade plan is not accurate and your trade plan is not thorough enough, because you've not included this in your trade plan for one, and two, your trade plan might actually not be profitable. But if you've got a back-tested, profitable system that you know can work in the live markets, but the only thing separating you from being a consistent, high-level 1% of your country earner to the current position that you're in, I want you to take away this idea of 95% of the time you take a trade, you're going to fail, and 5% of the time you take a trade that's outside your plan, you'll pass. So, like I said, 95% of the time you take a trade outside of your plan, you will fail. Take that realization from this video, take my realization, let me save you months and months and months, let me save you tens of thousands of pounds or dollars or however much money that you are about to lose if you don't make that realization now, and adopt that change into your routines. Adapt your trade plan to meet that as well. Have this included in your trade plan and come back and tell me if it works or not, because I am sure you might not see, 100% reduction in trades outside your plan, but you will see a significant reduction of you taking trades that do not make sense. Okay? You're here to become a profitable, consistent trader. You're not here to just give money away for the sake of it. You can give your money to charity. That's a better cause than you blowing your money and giving it to brokers or prop firms for them to pocket money out of. Okay? So basically, that is a video. I didn't want to overcomplicate it. I wanted to keep it simple and basically tell you the benefits of sticking to your plan. Because if you stick to your plan and you force yourself to take trades that are in line with your plan, and you forget this whole idea that, oh, I have to take a trade out of FOMO, I just wanted to be in a trade, I thought it looked good at the time. Forget all that shit and focus on what's important. This is the important thing here, that every single time you take a trade outside of your plan, it's going to fail 95% of the time. So just stop doing it. All right? Stop doing it. Imagine for a second I'm your manager and your job, for me to pay you is to be a trader. Okay? And let's say we worked in an office and my desk is here, your desk is next to me. Would you be taking trades outside of your plan, or would you be breaking company policy with your manager looking over you? In trading, you're your own manager. But an accurate way of analyzing if you're a good manager or a good trader is just by looking at how much money you're throwing away. If you've got a trade plan that you know is a profitable trade plan, for example, if this was your back testing results and then your live results looked a bit like this, purely break evens, like absolute brain rot break evens, or brain rot losing strategies like this, then we both know what the issue is, and the issue is that you're taking trades outside of your trade plan. If you don't accept that, then you need to make that realization soon, because if you don't make that realization soon, the next time you get paid, you'll buy challenges. You might buy a $500 Ment Funding account, sorry, a $100,000 Ment Funding account for whatever price that might be at the time, and you might blow it. You might put $5,000 into your personal account and you might blow it. But don't say I didn't tell you so, because if you don't make this change now, you're never going to make the change. Let me tell you that this is the one change that I made that catapulted me into results like this from results like this. All right. The moment I started to stick to my plan, because I made this realization, was the moment that I ended up seeing, my bank account increased by the thousands, and then eventually by the tens of thousands, and more and more and more. I'm not going to go into all that, but I'm trying to motivate you guys into realizing that if you've got a profitable system back testing, it doesn't actually take all that much to take that profitable into the live markets, as long as you've adopted this important factor of taking trades that stick to your plan. Okay, and it also, just before I finish the video off, it also matters the other way around. You can't expect to take trades, or sorry, you can't expect not to take trades because you're scared of them and then expect to be profitable. You have to take all the trades in line with your plan. I did a video, it was the first video I did on this channel, and it was basically doing a bit of a case study on someone who was struggling with something like this, whereby they were experiencing a lot of break evens or losses in the live markets, but in back testing they had really profitable systems. I'd highly recommend you watch that. Now, if I can, I'll leave a card on the screen right now, or I'll leave the card at the end, and I really do recommend you give that video a watch, because that video showcases another real life case study and something that I've helped that person with, and hopefully that person is now starting to see signs of consistent profitability. Okay. So that is pretty much the end of that video. And as you can see, the only thing that you need to do is flip the statistic on its head and tell yourself what is actually important. Dan, every time you break your trade plan, you will lose 95% of the time. And every time you break your trade plan, you will only win 5% of the time. So why on earth are you breaking your trade plan for a 5% success rate? Okay, aim for 100% psychological success rate, which means that 100% of the time you'll take a trade in line with your plan, and that is basically 100% psychological and strategy success rate, you could call it. And then the markets are going to give you either a break even, a loss, or a win. That's out of your control. Okay, you can't control what the markets are going to give you, but you can control every single thing that leads up to you entering a live trade. Okay, and that is pretty much it for the video. Before I do finish off, I do want to do a bit of a little cool announcement. So if you are on the Mentfunding Discord, you would have realized that Anton Mentfx put out a message recently saying that our competitions are coming back. So the competitions that you have all been waiting for are due to come back soon. If you haven't joined the Discord already, there is a link down below. I'll do another video close to the time when a competition is out. And if you head over to the link in the description, you can also keep your eye on the competitions and get involved in them. For context, previous competitions that we've done, you basically trade on a demo account for a month, and we will give you a funded challenge. So we'll give you a challenge and evaluation account if you are one of the winners. The winner is not always a person with the highest percentage made or the highest R made. We look for consistency. So if you have a consistent trade plan, but you were actually struggling with the mindset element, sign up for the Ment Funding Challenge as soon as it's out and see if you actually end up being profitable for the month based on this new rule that I've told you. This rule could catapult you from being wherever you are right now into something like this. I'm not one to brag about results or anything like that, but I know for a fact that if someone showed me these results when I was first starting to learn how to trade, or when I was having similar psychological issues, I would absolutely be bamboozled. I would be absolutely amazed and want to know more. So this is me telling you more, and this is me telling you how you can fix these same psychological issues that I used to experience here. How I realized that by basically having this crazy realization, and then how my results end up looking something like this. And that's pretty much the end of the video. If you liked it, please give me a like rating. The more like ratings, the better, because it means that I can do similar types of videos. The last week's video did really, really well, so I really appreciate all your guys' comments, your likes, and your views. Really appreciate them. Let me know down below what your experience is, how you feel about all this as well. You might agree with me, you might disagree with me, but I know if you leave me a comment, I'll know how you feel, and it might give me some video ideas I can do in the future tailored to the experience that you might be having right now, and that might eventually help you as well. So leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I post next, and I will see you all in next week's video.